What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Game Show presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my beautiful co-hosts, Josh and John Luke. What's up, boys?
We're here. We're here.
We survived the weekend. We survived.
It was hard this time. I almost didn't make it through Sunday, but we made it. We're here and we're ready to mock draft. Guys, joining us today is very special guest. We've got Alex Caruso with us. For those of you that do not know Alex, he is the host of the Fresh Fantasy Podcast. You can find him on TikTok at Alex Caruso NFL or running the Football Guys official account. He's a contributor over at Football Guys and probably the number one DeAndre Swift fan I know. Sorry, Jay Wall, scoot over. What's up, Alex?
I'm great to be here. I appreciate you guys having me back on the show once again. I'm so excited to be here, excited to mock draft, and excited to talk some football.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
do it. And
we had to have you back on because I missed the first one. So
both of you did. You and Simon.
You missed it too, JL? I was gone as well.
Yeah, no, I missed it. I remember
was it just you and me, Alex? I don't recall.
It's just a two-person show.
We had Tim and we had two Tims, didn't we?
Tim and Joey.
Two rights.
Yeah, two rights.
Two rights. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you had the right crew on there. You know what? You might be like, next time I come on, make sure the rights are on there, not Simon and Jay. We'll see, though. I'm excited for this mock today, guys, because I've not done many redraft mocks yet this offseason. It's been mostly Dynasty mocks. I know we've mostly been doing Dynasty mocks on Mock Draft Monday, so it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. Before we get started, though, we got Craig in the chat ready. He said the graphic for today has Aaron Rodgers looking like he is eyeing up Josh to be his number one wide receiver this year. And Josh is really having a hard time deciding if he wants to.
What's it going to be, Josh?
I mean, I have to decide between FYF or playing for the Packers. And, when it comes down to it, I'd rather be here with you guys.
Yeah.
They could use me, though. They could use me. I see Pete in high school said Josh has better hands than MVS confirmed. Well, MVS had, I think, 7 drop passes last year.
He looked it up.
I had 0.
0, yeah. That's 7 less.
Not a single.
I made up
That's
7.
Incredible.
You looked down like you had your iPad. So
I literally typed it in. I tried to find it real fast. I couldn't find it fast.
I like that you didn't find it, and instead of saying I can't find it, you just said 7.
7.
Yep, he had 7 drop passes.
I found something written in November saying he had 5 drop passes up until that point in November.
So you just extrapolated.
2 more. Same thing.
Rest of season pace. That's a stat that everyone loves in fantasy, right? That's one that all analysts love. You just extrapolate out based on what they did. Dame, what's up, Dame? Welcome in. Glad to have you in here. And Jay said, my ads were for Uber Eats, then a workout app. I'm so confused what I'm supposed to do. Eat a lot of Uber Eats, then get on the workout app and vomit immediately after, I think is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not like when you work out, you got to eat afterwards. You got to build that muscle. So they are correlated a little bit.
There you go. Jay in here saying Alex greater than, not than anything, just than everything, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
John, what's up? Welcome in. Hope you are blessed as well. And Swamp said, Josh just built.
Swampy!
What's up, Swamp?
And then I followed up with built.
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 Yeah, that's exactly how Swamp sounds. I'm positive of it. That's the voice right there.
Swamp.
Guys.
My forearm looks strong here. It's not that big.
Get out of here, Josh.
Oh, man, Josh. Save some for your OnlyFans, Josh. Guys, like I mentioned, we brought Alex here to do a mock draft with us. Before we get into that, though, a couple reminders. Number one, if you are not already following our guest Alex on Twitter, go and fix that right now. I don't know what you're doing. You can find him on Twitter at Alex Caruso. It is his name. Easy to remember. It is right there below his handsome face on the screen. And then after you do that, make sure you're following him on TikTok too. You can find him at Alex Caruso NFL. And then he also runs the Football Guys official account, and that's at Football Guys Official. Once you do that, though, and you're back over here watching us, if you could give a like to this video and make sure you're subscribed to our channel at Front Yard Fantasy, it would literally mean the world. It would mean
I'm going to give you a
imagine.
trick. You double click or right click with your mouse, and then you hit new tab. So go follow Alex on your new tabs, but keep this tab open. Super easy.
You're probably going to need your phone anyway. I mean, if you have a laptop and phone in front of you, use both. You got all these devices.
Stop making excuses.
It's 2022. We have to be looking at multiple screens at a time. It's part of the psyche at this point.
I got 3 devices right here in front of me.
And you're streaming.
And I'm streaming, yeah.
I've got 2 phones right here. It's no big deal. We got Eric Moody in the chat. What's up, Moody? Welcome in. And Nolan, how's it going? Welcome in, Nolan. We're going to get a trade done this offseason. He's mad at me because I didn't respond to his trades for a long time, I think. But we're going to get one. We're going to get one in there, Nolan. I promise. Green
Simon
Screens
just
Media.
knows I'm going to win that league anyway. So what's the point?
I'm a sleeping giant. Just because my team's the worst doesn't mean it's the worst.
It's not the worst. You have good pieces. I think you have like Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott. And, yeah,
it's a 1QB league.
That's about it, though.
That's all he's got.
Green Screens Media says mine were for T-shirts that are loose around the belly.
That made me laugh.
That's perfect. That is my favorite kind of T-shirt. Anytime a T-shirt touches my belly, I'm immediately uncomfortable.
If it's going to be loose anywhere,
outside the house in
that. The belly.
And Josh says, go over the setting of the mock again, please. Absolutely. I'll go ahead and pull this up there because we're going to get started in a moment. But this mock is going to be a 1 quarterback redraft mock draft. And all those rookies that we're excited about and we've been diving into are going to be included in this since it's redraft. So this will be one of our first redraft mocks with the rookies. The full settings, we're going to have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex spots, and then 3 bench is what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be a 12-round mock today. See, JL pulled it up right there. A little bit deeper league, shorter bench, but this will be close to what you're doing in an actual redraft mock. Maybe just a couple more rounds, like 3 more rounds would likely be the end of that. So this will be a lot closer to the actual full draft than our Dynasty ones are.
Can you imagine this is a real – oh, wait, this is redraft, right?
This is redraft. I
was going to say, like, imagine a Dynasty league where you only have 3 bench spots.
I saw someone talking on Twitter today about a Dynasty league they were in that only had 5 bench spots.
Oh my God, that's so stressful. I don't like that at all.
Oh, I could not do
I
that.
feel like a lot of teams would need to be in that league. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A little bit cooler. But still, it's not. It's almost like it's closer to a keeper. Like not closer. It's still a dynasty. It's closer to dynasty, but it's somewhere in between, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do they have a crazy amount of starters though in those like in the low bench spots? Like, is there like 10 or 11 starters? Or
that's gonna make it so much more tough.
I love that. I love like loading up the starting lineup in a dynasty league.
The IR league.
Let's do a league this year. No bench. No bench. Everything.
Only starters.
Only starters.
So
every single person on your team gives you fantasy points every week.
That's so stressful.
God, that would be unreal.
Saquon Barkley, like,
you get like CMC goes out for 3 weeks. What do you do? Do you leave him in your lineup? Do you? Oh man, that would be fun. That would actually be fun. Maybe we'll have to do that. We got Case in here said, well, the fingers are back to normal, except one is like pointing to the left a little bit.
It's totally normal.
Yeah, I think all of my fingers are pointing to the left.
Natural left leaning.
I broke my pinky. It's definitely like leaning. And then this finger, it's all, I had to have surgery. You see that nail? It still isn't growing back, right?
Disgusting.
Yeah. It's
and Green Screen saying it's like reverse best ball. Yeah, it is like reverse best ball. Instead of your best players getting started, you start all your players. Yeah.
Better ball.
Better ball.
I like it. All ball.
Guys, are you ready to go and start this mock? We've got Josh drafting from the 5, me from the 4, and Alex from the 6. So we are sandwiching.
I sandwiched myself right in between you guys. I chose that spot too. It wasn't like I just got stuck there. I was like, I want it. I want it. Because I know I'm going to get sniped, but I also more than likely just want to snipe both these guys.
I hope that happens, and I hope that fighting breaks out on the stream. So Dan is on the clock. We have started this draft.
Alex, I have a feeling what's going to happen is you're going to snipe Josh, and then out of pure spite, like he's not going to pick the guy he wants. He's just going to be like, if I get sniped, Simon's getting sniped too. And then just grabs the player he knows I want.
Oh, I know about Simon's likes, so I might be able to snipe Simon a little bit better. Alex, I'm not so sure. I heard you're a DeAndre Swift fan, so.
Yeah, take him at 1-5, Josh. Take him in the first round.
I mean, it's not like that, like crazy.
It's not. I think some people would be okay with that, yeah.
It would be on brand.
It would be on brand.
I feel like if I don't take him, then people are going to go after me.
We got Scott in here saying, I'm here. Restart the show. I missed the first 5 minutes. Or recap it quickly in a weird voice. JL, you got that? Can you recap it for him real quick?
I'm casing. My fingers are back to normal. That's it.
Okay, yeah, that pretty much covers up what we covered at the beginning right there.
That's it.
And then Scott said, go to the Boston Live SFB 12 draft and hang out with Alex. You're going to be at the live draft in Boston?
I will. As long as Scott's willing to put me in there, I will definitely be at the live draft in Boston. I live right in Boston, so this is as close to me as it could possibly get.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, it's at your house, right?
It might be. It might be. We get a big table. We get some more chairs. And we bring in Scott in as the host, and we do a live show.
So we got Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, and then CMC, third running back off the board here. This is a bit different, I would say.
It surprised the hell out of me a little bit seeing Joe Mixon go there.
Joe Mixon at the 2,
Yeah, Simon, bold.
Simon's on the clock.
And I forgot that I was logged into the company account on my computer, was clicking draft furiously, and it would not let me select the player.
You might have to use there's multiple devices like we talked about.
I'm back on the other device now. That's what we're doing right here.
Now, listen, real fast. Joe Mixon going 2. For me, it surprised the heck out of me when I first saw it. But when it comes down to it, why not? He was the number 4 running back last year. He's an awesome offense with Joe Burrow and everything. Jonathan Taylor deserves to be the number 1 pick. But after that, you could make a very good argument why Joe Mixon deserves to be number 2 off the board. Derrick Henry, he's got the injury risk. Christian McCaffrey, same exact thing. So then who are we talking about? We're talking about other guys that are right around Joe Mixon. I'm going to make my draft pick, though.
I don't know. Kaysen said, Joshy followed me back on TikTok. I feel honored.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, Kaysen, your handle is very questionable on TikTok. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Let's leave it at that.
What's up? He said the snipe butterfly effect is real.
I love that. The snipe butterfly effect.
It is real. It
make
flutters.
That a thing.
And Dame saying bold on the Joe Mixon, but Josh, I agree with you. I have no issue with taking Joe Mixon there. My only issue is maybe a value thing, right? But at that 2 spot,
he's not getting him in the second round.
He's not coming back. So if you think Joe Mixon is the second best running back for next season, take him right there. Maybe if you have your choice of draft spot, maybe try to grab one a couple spots later, and you can still get Mixon. But I've got no issues with it. No. Jay wants to know, what snacks are you serving at the live draft at your house?
That's a good question. I don't know. Chips and salsa is always a must at a draft for a little party, or something like that. That's a good party snack. I think that the bold call, the dark horse of party snacks that not too many parties have, would probably be mozzarella sticks. I know it's a hot take.
You are speaking JL's language.
They are never at parties, and I think that they should be. If you have something to keep them warm, you put them on those like little gas station hot dog rollers. You keep them warm. Get a little cold sauce on the side. I mean, with it.
I'm so relieved you said mozzarella sticks, because in my mind, without a doubt, you're about to say deviled eggs, and I was going to be so upset. I was going to be like, "No, you're a deviled egg guy." Like I was
not a deviled egg guy. No,
I'm not really either a deviled egg guy. No one on the stream is, huh?
No,
okay.
No, thank you.
Smell like farts.
I'm sure a lot of people are. You're either a deviled egg guy or you're not, right?
Yeah, there's no middle ground.
Scott says, since he draft has Luke Sawhook serving nachos. Oh, everyone on Twitter knows he's got the best nachos, right? Have you guys seen his nacho picks?
I've seen them. We have to go to Cincinnati just for them. Maybe they'll get the expo. If he's Cincinnati, maybe he'll be there at the expo in Canton to serve some nachos.
Yeah.
There we go. If you guys haven't seen it, he has been just absolutely roasted on Twitter whenever he's posted his nachos. But Luke, he's a good sport about it, and he kind of just embraced it, and he loves his nachos. He doesn't care what anyone says.
So we got Simon, you took Cooper Kupp, followed by Josh with Derrick Henry, and then Austin Eckler from Alex. Simon, starting with you. Cooper Kupp, I'm guessing, I guess this isn't that hard to extrapolate, but he's your wide receiver 1 to read.
He's my wide receiver.
He was really good last year, and he's really good again.
The connection he and Stafford have. I don't even need to say these words. You know what I mean? Everyone knows why we like Cooper Kupp for next year, and that's why I like Cooper Kupp for next year.
How far is he from the next wide receiver?
You know what? I think it's a tier of 3 for me. Cooper Kupp is not in a separate tier, because I'm not under the illusion that he's going to do what he did last year again. That doesn't mean he can't be the wide receiver 1 again, but I think Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase are a tier of 3 for me at the top. And then a lot of those other top guys had situations change or a little bit of uncertainty, and so that's where that tier break is for me. But I'm confident in the situation and the talent for all 3 of those guys, and so they separate themselves at the top for me. He's in a tier with those 2 other guys, if that answers your question.
It does. Alex, what about you? How do you feel about, I know you're coming up on the clock here. Is Cooper Kupp your wide receiver 1 in redraft?
I think that he is. Actually, no, sorry. I don't think he is. I think it would be Justin Jefferson. Because Kevin O'Connell's there. He was the offensive coordinator when Cooper Kupp just had his crazy wide receiver 1 season. I know I'm on the clock here, but I think that, Kevin O'Connell's going to bring something and have to scheme them similar to Justin Jefferson. I mean, Adam Thielen's a year older. I don't think KJ Osborne is that much of a threat. I wouldn't be shocked to see Justin Jefferson get that 33+% target share that Cooper Kupp was getting last year and have him to go absolutely nuclear. Maybe I just love Justin Jefferson. I love the purple on the jerseys, but I think that I would have him over Kupp slightly.
Yeah, I am not upset about that at all. I think that's a completely fair take here. And Scott Fish saying, yes, JJ. Justin Jefferson.
I've got no issues with that. Like I said, they're in a similar tier for me, and you make a good argument for Justin Jefferson. Those are the three that I'm like, if any of those three are your one, it makes sense. Makes sense to me.
There's an argument for everybody.
Yeah.
Just not Devontae.
Just not Devontae.
No. I don't know. I think there's too much target competition there with Renfro and Waller. I think are going to demand some targets to the point that I don't think that he could be the wide receiver one in that conversation for where I'm drafting. Of course, he could still do it. He's still Devontae, the best talented wide receiver in the NFL, but I don't see the 30% target share he's been getting.
Less competition than Cooper Kupp.
Ooh. I think Cooper Kupp has less competition overall, as much as I love Allen Robinson.
I agree.
I think that's fair. That's fair.
And speaking of competition for Devontae Adams, on Reddit today, there just on the front page was the tackle that Renfro made to stop the fake punt in that Chargers-Raiders game. Yeah. And I forgot just how sick of a play that was. He was the returner way back there, started moving pre-snap and got up there and just blasted the guy. Like, I forgot about that play until today.
Shot out of a cannon.
Alex, you went Austin Eckler and Saquon Barkley here.
I love your pick so far, Alex. I'm not usually an RB heavy early, but those two guys, I think that's a great spot for both of them.
Yeah, I feel like Austin Eckler is like, he can do no wrong in the fantasy community. He's like the darling. And then Saquon Barkley is an interesting prospect who a lot of people are down on or counting out completely. Are you concerned are you expecting Saquon Barkley to bounce back to 2 years ago Saquon Barkley, or do we have to accept that this is life now and we're going to get not as good?
Expect him to bounce back.
Yeah, well, I think expecting is a strong word, but like if this is a real NFL league and this is how I play a lot of my fantasy leagues, like I'm playing with 11 other very smart and talented people. I'm here to win. Who gives me the best chance to win? Drafting someone with as much talent as Saquon does in that round, and I'm swinging for the fences as much as I can because, you know, when you're playing against Simon and Josh and all these other talented people in here, you got to.
Really, you can't miss anyone you pick.
Go for the highest ceiling possible and swing for the fences.
Yeah.
Because in terms of talent, Saquon Barkley's got as much talent as any running back in the NFL, period. Like, it's just he's got to put it all together like he was doing before the injuries started becoming a problem, right?
Right.
Gary, this is a warning. I swear to God, if you snipe me, you'll never mock draft again.
DJ Moore.
That's not who I wanted. So
there you go. And now you're on the
I mean, we know you're a big DJ Moore fan. So.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was going to be it.
Why is it still
Dynasty? You know, he's real young, and so maybe for Dynasty a little bit higher.
Kyle Pitts.
Hey, all right.
Kyle Pitts. Simon, you went Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Kyle Pitts. It's a pretty solid start.
I like it so far. This is a pretty solid zero RB style start for me. I haven't done many zero RB mocks in redraft for this season yet because it seems like hero RB has been like my preferred, like the way the draft boards have been falling, it seems like hero RB has been a preferred strategy for me so far, but I wanted to experiment a little bit today. It was part of why I chose that 4 spot. I assumed I'd get at least one of my top 2 wide receivers there and then go from there. And I was planning on taking Mike Evans in the second round. He's my wide receiver 6 in redraft going into next year. I'm very high on him, and I assumed he would be there. Joey Wright, shout out to him. He's the one who gave me the courage to move him up that high. But as I'm looking at it, I think he's got him at 5, if I'm not mistaken. He's got him way up there. But he can correct me if I'm wrong. But I just, with Tom Brady in that offense and the touchdown upside that Mike Evans has, and Chris Godwin potentially still recovering from that injury for the first 4 to 6 weeks of the season, Mike Evans is going to kill it this year.
No, Simon, I love Mike Evans there. I was considering him over Deebo Samuel, actually. I still have Deebo Samuel. I'm going to have him ranked probably slightly higher, like right above Mike Evans. But I was like, also take Deebo, and there's probably a good chance Mike Evans might be there with my next pick. Obviously didn't happen, but I decided.
How was Simon drafted on the other side?
Yeah. I should have known.
I love Mike Evans.
Simon, you just hit Kyle Pitts, and I know Travis Kelce was the first tight end going off the board, followed by Mark Andrews at the 2.5 and 2.6. If both of those guys were still there, which one are you taking? Who's your tight end 1 for redraft?
As of right now, it's Travis Kelce, but I keep going back and forth between Kelce and Andrews. And the big thing for me is just trying to figure out what this Ravens offense wants to do this year. That's been a puzzle for me that I haven't quite figured out because they've been historically, since Lamar Jackson's been the starting quarterback, a rush first offense, like a lower passing volume offense. But last year, because of the injuries to the running backs and the defense, we saw a lot more passing and they found some success with it. And I don't know, I'm hopeful that means maybe they'll have a more balanced approach this season, even with a healthy defense. Like they've seen that it can work offensively for them. But that uncertainty makes me waver between Kelce and Andrews. So Kelsey's 1, Andrews 2, and then Pitts is 3, but has he's maybe him, Kittle, like those top 4, I think are the ones with the upside to finish number 1 overall next season. So I don't mind taking Pitts here, third out of them a little bit later.
What about you, Josh? Out of those 3, which one you taking first in redraft?
It's Kelce 1,000% for me. I almost might put him in a new tier because Kelce, there's no Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying that's 100% a good thing, but I think he's going to be peppered with targets all year long. I know he's getting a little bit older, but Simon, like if we just look at like the Ravens offseason moves, they trade Hollywood Brown. They don't really bring in anyone relevant at the wide receiver position. They signed Mike Davis, which he's Mike Davis. I'm not getting uber excited, but they want to run the football. Mike Davis probably would have been the starting running back for them last year. He's not good, but their running back situation was really bad last year. Just going to my point. So, like, they want to run the football. Their offensive line is going to be slightly improved. I mean, everything's slightly improved on the Ravens from last year outside of the wide receiver position. So, Mark Andrews is going to get peppered with targets. He's going to be their number 1 target, but they want to run the football in my mind, and Kelce separates himself for sure.
What about you, Alex? I know you're about to be on the clock, but out of those 3, or maybe more, which tight end are you taking?
It's got to be Kelce. I mean, he's been the tight end 1 5 out of the last 6 years. Again, Tyreek Hill leaves, and again, this is the Devontae Adams argument that we heard for so long that there's no one else there. Like he can't be the wide receiver 1 because there's no one else on his team to throw to. They're going to triple team him, and time after time, we just saw him get more targets and continue to dominate. I think Travis Kelce does the same thing because all Travis Kelce has done is dominate, and I think that Travis Kelce is going to do it. And I think another guy that's going to dominate, should he stay healthy this year, because he has absolutely no competition for touches with a player that had 40 touches last year and the 6th round rookie on a new deal with an improving offense. James Conner is going to once again dominate.
The build up on that one.
The segue, right?
I was like, what tight end is he going to say? I was like, what other tight end could he possibly be talking about? That checks out. I love that James Conner pick.
Yeah. Well, like I said, like there's this team out there that they have a much improved offensive line. They want to run the football, and all their moves are showing they want to run the football. And they have this guy that didn't get to play last year, but he is electric. And the year before, when he was a rookie, he had the 2nd most yards per carry in the NFL. J.K. Dobbins is going to have a fantastic year. All right, J.K. Dobbins. Let's go, J.K. Dobbins.
Sorry, pardon my French. I was going to draft my first running back here. Now we're waiting forever, Josh. I hope you're happy with what you did.
The James Conner,
never drafting a running back again.
I loved our build up on both.
Yeah,
Alex.
That was awesome. Never drafting another running back.
And we skipped over Josh. You took
honestly with my redraft rankings, I'm having a lot of trouble with James Conner and J.K. Dobbins. And just because I think I know exactly what James Conner's role is going to be with the Cardinals, I do have him just ahead.
You should. There's been no, over the last 4 years since Lamar took over, there's been no, like there's been barely over 50 running back targets total for the team. I think the highest target.
Who's going to catch those passes though?
But that's the same thing. But it's going to be nobody. They just don't throw to the running backs. Like Lamar's target percentage to running backs, no matter who's been back there, has been like atrocious. I'm not saying Dobbins is going to be bad. This is purely for Conner or Dobbins.
No. I completely understand what you're saying. And there was this we were practicing I'm a Ravens fan. Yeah. They were practicing throwing to the running back a lot more because they wanted to keep Lamar Jackson more healthy going into last season. But as you know, with the injuries and everything, like our best running back was Latavius Murray or Devonta Freeman. I don't know, whoever, it doesn't matter. They're just not it, And prior to that, we've never really had a great pass catching running back with Lamar Jackson. So I think J.K. Dobbins is the best one we have had. I think he'll get more catches than you expect. He's going to get less than James Conner, though.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Agree. And that's what I'm going for, is that he's going to get more work than Dobbins will overall and more passes.
But
that will be that.
Yeah. I was going to say there's an injury history with James Conner, but J.K. Dobbins didn't play last year. So
okay, Gary, I'm imploring you once again, Gary, do not you son of a gun. That's it, Gary. You're out of the mock.
Get out of here, Gary.
I selected Amari Cooper only because I was like, I think Brown will make it back to me. I think I can grab Brown in the next round. I think I can grab him.
He did not.
He did not.
Oh, he did not.
God. I'm so mad.
Simon, you are back on the clock. Tim said the world is in balance. Simon with Evans and Josh with Dobbins. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Whatever.
It really is.
And John here asking, what are your thoughts on Kamara going where he went there? Do you guys think he's going to miss any time this year? What do you guys think? Alex, we'll start with you. Oh, actually, you're up soon.
You're okay. No, I think Kamara is scary because of this whole court date thing, and I know the off the field stuff is always concerning. I'm staying away. I love the talent as much as I love Kamara. I just don't know, and that the legal people and whatnot are, saying a lot of different things. This could go a lot of different ways, and because it seems like a real chance that there's a suspension that could happen. I'm staying away, and I'm really scared of Alvin Kamara as much as the on field talent is amazing right now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Simon, how you feel about Alvin?
Similar. If you want to take the risk, it's a very risky pick, but the reward is there, right? We've seen what Alvin Kamara can do, and this is a new coaching staff, and you know who's going to be a coach's best friend? Alvin Kamara. That's a great way to make a coach look great, is just put the ball in Alvin Kamara's hands as much as possible. So there's a lot of risk involved with that pick, and so I'm likely not making it as early as he went. He's not going to be a first-round pick for me, but if he falls to mid to end of the second round, I'll take that risk at this point. I'll do it then, but not in the first round.
Agreed.
That could be throwing away your first round pick. That's hard to recover from.
This player I'm about to take is someone I've been pounding the drum for. I have to build up again because I think this player is the most underrated wide receiver in all of fantasy football, taking over a role that has been productive with less talented players than this player, playing in one of the best offenses in the NFL, the most underrated wide receiver we have in fantasy right now. Allen Robinson.
I knew it.
I was hoping you wouldn't take him. I think it's amazing. I mean, OBJ and Robert Woods' numbers, in that role last year, and what that wide receiver 2 role has been for LA for the last few years. Allen Robinson is one season removed from being a top 10 wide receiver with Mitch Trubisky back-to-back years. I'm sorry to take that over, but he is I cannot talk about him enough this year. He might even be my flag plant for the one player. He might be what Swift was for me last year. Not to that level, but
I like it. What? So is it just talent that sets him above guys like Robert Woods and Odell, who weren't shining in that offense necessarily? I don't think they were irrelevant, but they were certainly in Cooper Kupp's shadow. Do you think Allen Robinson might struggle with that?
I don't think so, because Robert Woods was a wide receiver 1. Before he got hurt. That's what people forget. He was literally wide receiver 12 the week going into
the season. The first few games he wasn't very good, but then he turned it on.
Same with OBJ. I mean, he really turned it on for that team down the stretch week after week.
OBJ didn't get to practice with this team. He came in mid-season. Now Robinson's going to have a full offseason kind of.
Yeah, and name the best quarterback Allen Robinson's had.
Christian Bortles, no question asked.
Bortles.
Yeah. And that includes Stafford.
Obviously.
I'm just kidding.
Who is this high school quarterback?
And it's really not even close. Stafford is by far and away the best quarterback he's ever going to play with.
Oh, without a doubt.
Period.
And Josh saying, if anything, he might get 2 games. I think that's the high end. I don't know who he's talking about, though.
Alvin Kamara.
Okay. I see. Simon took Lamar Jackson 5th round.
Yeah, I tilted and then was having trouble making a decision because I had made up my mind on Marquise Brown, and I was looking at the positions, and there was a lot of players in similar tiers, and there was one quarterback left in that top tier for me, and that was Lamar Jackson. So I went that route. You can't lose drafting Lamar Jackson. It's going to make the rest of this draft a little bit interesting for me, seeing how I fill out the rest of these position spots, going tight end and quarterback early. But that's what mocks are for. We'll see what this team looks like at the end. I've got those 2 one-off positions secured, but yeah, I'm not mad I have Lamar Jackson. We'll see how that affects my position players.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then Josh, you took Hawkinson right after that.
Yeah,
Hawkinson's pretty interesting because obviously I felt like he was at peak hype going into last offseason. Obviously, he dealt with the injuries throughout the season. How are you projecting Hawkinson in 2022?
So to be completely honest, when it comes down to it, I would have in my overall rankings, which I haven't fully put together yet, I would have Hawkinson a little bit lower than he's being drafted right here. But when I look at the wide receivers and running backs available, I know there's going to be quite a few guys that come to my 6th and 7th round picks. Where with TJ Hawkinson, I think he kind of I don't want to get into it too much, but I wanted to get a tight end in this tier and make sure I got him because it's just a little bit easier to build your team around a tight end you feel confident with. And I do feel very confident with TJ Hockenson. He's got the talent. As long as he's healthy out there on the field, he's going to get the targets. Jameson Williams, he might not be ready for the start of the season. I think he will be, but even if he is, he's not taking away from TJ Hockenson. And if anything, he's helping TJ Hockenson a lot. In my opinion, he's going to spread the field. So I like TJ Hockenson a lot this year. Jared Goff's going to target him a lot. So I'm pretty high on TJ Hockenson, but he is a tier separated from the other tight ends.
The other guys. Yeah. I almost see him in a tier of his own.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one other guy I think you could make an argument to put it within, but
Alex, how do you feel about, do you think TJ Hockenson is going to take a step up this upcoming season?
I'm going to say no. I think that Swift is going to have a similar target share. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown steps it up overall. Again, I think Jameson Williams is going to steal a lot. I just don't think that TJ Hockenson will get the necessary targets to take a big step up. Maybe he outproduces what he did, on by average by a tiny bit, but I just don't think it'll be significant considering how many people and how many weapons that will be in that offense.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair.
I mean, he's going to need over 100 targets to be worthy at all of this draft pick. So I think he's going to get it, but I understand concerns of
why I see both sides of that. And then Josh Carlini said, "Can't play fantasy scared."
You can't. You can't. Hey, Jalen
Hurts.
Interesting pick.
I was going to take Murray, but somebody had to take him.
So is Jalen Hurts lumped in with this the quarterbacks that have gone just immediately ahead of him, the Murray, the Burrow, the Jackson for you, or is he separated by a tier?
I think that he's separated by a tier behind Murray. But I have him above Burrow personally. But I think it all goes back to like my favorite stat in the world last year was, like 19 out of 22 quarterbacks since 2012 that averaged 4.5 rush attempts per game were top 8 QBs in points per game every year. The only 3 that weren't for five or more rush attempts basically was 2012 Tim Tebow, 2014 Colin Kaepernick, and 2020 Cam Newton. Every other player was a top 8 fantasy quarterback in points per game. Hurts will do that as the QB7 in this draft.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. And he's got that nice rushing floor. Josh, how you feeling about Jalen Hurts next season?
I've been higher on Jalen Hurts than it feels like most people when it just comes to fantasy football. I understand he's not the best NFL quarterback. He's got AJ Brown now. That is an excellent point. He's got weapons surrounding him, really freaking good weapons. And all that matters is he runs the ball extremely well. If he's out there playing for the Eagles, he's going to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback. It's as simple as that, guys.
Yeah, that's completely fair.
Good pick, Alex. The biggest question for him is, do the Eagles trust him? Is he going to be the starter all year? Does he make mistakes that force the Eagles to take him off the field? If none of these things happen, if he's on the field, like I said, he's going to produce fantasy numbers that you're very, very happy.
Is Minshew still behind him?
No,
who do they have behind him?
I'm not actually 100%. I thought they got rid of Minshew for some reason. Didn't they trade it? Yeah. No, he's still there. It's Sleeper says he's still there. There was rumors about him being traded, I guess.
I'm going to fight Gary. I am going to fight Gary. Josh, you have sniped me 0 times. Gary has sniped me twice at this point. I don't even know what to do right now. I'm so mad.
Take Rashad Bateman.
He can't because he's not there.
I'm not taking anyone.
Walt Simon is still in. Josh took Kenneth Walker. Second running back. I was gonna say, there's no way he's the first rookie running back off the board. Second rookie running back off the board. I like that pick.
I'll say it once. I'll say it again. I'll say it all the times you want. Kenneth Walker deserves to be closer to Breece Hall than he currently is being drafted. He is a better pure running back than Breece Hall.
There it is.
Kenneth Walker. Is Breece Hall a better pass catcher? Sure. Can Breece Hall has a more complete profile? Yes. Kenneth Walker, in my opinion, is a much better put the ball in his chest, let him run, kind of running back.
Alex, do you agree, or is Josh dumb?
I don't think calling Josh dumb is ever. If I want any tips on TikTok,
sounds like he disagrees now. Go. Speak your heart, Alex.
But I don't know. I think that as a pure runner, maybe he probably is like right there with Breece Hall, if not better. I just don't think in the offense with Geno Smith maybe leading things off and what this offensive line looks like, that Kenneth Walker is going to be close to Breece Hall at all, for the next year. But maybe next year, if they get an upgraded quarterback, they get a high pick, They upgrade the offensive line. Kenneth Walker could be that, just not this year.
What about Drew Lock, bro? I'm joking. I'm joking.
You're on the clock, by the way.
I'm a Ken Walker fan, though.
I can pause the clock if you need to. You got it. Okay.
Ooh,
DeAndre Hopkins.
Nothing the 6-game scare you.
Yeah.
The suspension with DeAndre Hopkins. You're not letting that scare you?
I have to swing for the fences. I'm hoping that he's been the top 5 guy he's been 4 out of the last 5 years, and I'm going to hope that can carry me in round 7 of the draft, and that I can hold on with enough pieces glued together that when he gets back, he could be similar to what he's been the last few years.
It was really tempting at my pick to grab DeAndre Hopkins. I was sitting there thinking, like, do I do it?
I would have drafted more over him, though. So it was close. Yeah, I wanted one of those 2 guys. So thank you, Josh, for not taking him.
I would have drafted Elijah Moore myself as well.
There you go, Simon.
Well, suck it, losers.
So hey, I got sniped. I don't feel like drinking anything.
But it's a good point you bring up, Alex. I was doing my projections this weekend for Arizona, and DeAndre Hopkins made it kind of interesting. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, it's a third. He's missing basically a little more than third of the season. So I don't think it is a lot, but it's also not half of the season.
You have to be confident that you can survive those weeks and win at least a few games with your team, because if you're 0-6 and DeAndre Hopkins comes back, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah, it's not going to save your team.
Yeah.
But he's a good upside, great upside.
Stefan or Stephen, tell me which way is the right way to pronounce it. It says, can Bryan Edwards be fantasy relevant? Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. What do you guys think?
Best case scenario, maybe there's an injury in front of him and he steps into a larger role. Back end wide receiver 3 is like the ceiling I see for Bryan Edwards in this Atlanta offense. Like the upside's just not there for him. I don't think he can command the volume necessary in that bad offense to be fantasy relevant. With the pieces in front of him, and there aren't that many, right? There's Drake London and Kyle Pitts pretty much, but I just don't believe it. I haven't seen enough from him in his years in the NFL that moving to Atlanta, a worse offense with what's going to be a worse quarterback, is going to suddenly make him more fantasy relevant. I just don't see it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm with you. He had an opportunity to really show off this past season, and he just didn't do anything with it. And so that tells me, that tells me that we need to see it in order to be able to buy back into Bryan Edwards here.
Darren Wool was hurt. Ruggs had his off the field. He got knocked out. Bryan Edwards was prime for a role with the Raiders with a better quarterback, like we're saying, a better offense than he's going to currently be in. And he just did not take advantage. They gave away a 5th round pick for him, I think it was. Yeah, we don't really typically expect 5th round rookies to do much in the NFL. So
doesn't mean he can't.
That being said,
don't expect it.
The wide receiver trade market for some of these guys, especially ones that might be looking at new deals eventually, we've seen them go for low prices, right? Like Amari Cooper was traded for scraps to Cleveland as well, and I'm a little bit higher on him. But Amari Cooper's done a lot more on the field than Bryan Edwards. My only point being, like, just because they traded a 5th for him, there can be a lot of moving pieces. Yeah,
but he's not looking for a new contract. He's 2 years in the NFL. They could keep him cheap. It's like they just didn't want him anymore.
Yeah. Alex, do you have a different opinion?
I loved him coming out of college, though.
No, I think it's fair. Like, I wanted to believe. Like, I was one of those people that was so bought in when it was like the mix of like Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. Like, I was like one of those people that had him in like every league. I've so believed like what those beat reporters were saying, but I don't know. That's also another thing I was going to ask, because like I don't think that Zach or the guy in front of me are going to take him, but I'm looking in my queue and I can't find Calvin Ridley. I was going to take a gamble on him, but I cannot find him anywhere in my queue.
241.
241. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know on that gambling joke, I thought that might hit.
I missed you. I missed you on that one. It's a redraft league, so we're obviously not going to take him, but that was pretty good. Yeah, you should have saved it for a Dynasty mock draft.
Yeah, I wasn't actually going to take him.
I was like, well, you can.
I have my eyes on a guy that I formerly hated until my main man, Dwayne McFarland, completely changed my mind on this player on a podcast the other day. Completely rechanged my thought process as long as I don't get sniped right here.
I'm interested to see what it ends up being.
Yeah, I won't do a huge build up. Not going to make people wait another 45 seconds.
my draft board's behind the one that's on the screen.
Oh, is it?
No,
it was Gabe Davis.
I got sniped.
Oh, no.
That's awesome.
How's it feel?
It hurts. It's
It
deep.
hurts. Pain. Simon, Gabriel Davis, I think, is interesting. I know he has generated a lot of Twitter conversation lately. Are you as high as everybody else on Gabe Davis? Do you think that short run of production that we saw from him can be sustained?
No, I mean, I like Gabriel Davis. Is there a potential possibility where that happens, where we see him kind of fully step into that wide receiver 2 role in that offense? Sure. Do I think it's the most probable outcome? Absolutely not. I know a lot of people have been beating this drum. Craig's been beating this drum, and I'm buying into it. I've been a Jamison Crowder lover as well, and we've seen what the slot receiver in that offense does. Right? They're going to command targets. It's not like all of a sudden Cole Beasley's gone. All those targets are funneling to Gabe Davis. I think a good portion of them are going to go the Crowder route. That doesn't mean Gabe Davis won't have good games. He's probably cemented a bigger role than he had before that stretch of games, but I'm not expecting like these high-end wide receiver 2, borderline wide receiver 1 numbers from him this season. Now, again, you're drafting him in the 8th round, so you don't need that. But I don't think I'm as bought into the hype as everybody else is.
So, Alex, I want to hear your opinion on Gabe Davis, since I'm assuming it's going to be a little different than Simon's.
Yeah, I was a huge hater going into the offseason, but I've seen a number of people put up some threads that was like every underlying stat that he had last year was like really, really impressive overall. Besides target share, I know the target share wasn't there, but it was like every time that he played a significant amount of snaps and every time that he was on the field, he was playing. And I know they drafted Khalil Shakur, if I said that right, and they have other guys like Jamison Crowder, but it seems like if he plays like the same amount of snaps, like all these little underlying statistics people are looking at point that he could break out. I'm not saying he will. He's still like near wide receiver 30 for me. But of guys that have that much upside as a wide receiver 2 in that range, Gabe Davis is someone I'm willing to take.
Yeah, I like that. And when I really think about it, I think I lean more towards Simon's side of this, or side,
Sure.
like that I'm less bullish on Gabe Davis, but in the middle of the 8th round, going around guys like Kadarius Toney, Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, I'm fine taking that shot. You know? So I think that's a good take right there. Simon, you took your first running back, Devin Singletary.
I did.
That's cool.
And this is really just, I think it's great value here. As of now, I'm not assuming that James Cook is going to walk in and steal this job and be the starter for Buffalo. Devin Singletary's been good for them. They have shown that they want to replace him, right? Drafting Zach Moss and then James Cook, or at least supplement him. But to get a starting running back in the 8th round, I'll take him, right? Especially whenever I've drafted the way I have.
Josh, who do you think is gonna be the running back 1 at the end of the season? Do you think it's gonna be for Buffalo, James Cook or Devin Singletary?
Can you define for me real fast?
Who has more fantasy points at the end of the season?
Running back 1 means who has more fantasy points?
Who has more fantasy points in a PPR league at the end of the season?
Gary.
Who has more fantasy points in a PPR league at the end of the season?
Gary's made himself my.
If you were to make a prediction today.
Because I'm very confident. I think Devin Singletary will have more rushing attempts, and I think James Cook will have more pass catches. If Devin Singletary finds himself in the end zone 8 times, it will definitely be him. If he doesn't, I think it's going to be James Cook.
I think that's fair. What do you think the split is, if you were to take a wild guess?
I would say that Singletary or James Cook's not going to get more than 50% of the carries, like probably ever, in my opinion, like for a team. Mm-hmm. He'll probably get 25% of the carries, but he'll line up in the slot as a wide receiver a lot of the time. He'll be in the backfield with other running backs. They're going to use him in very creative ways and get the ball in his hands. I'm not saying he's going to be a fantasy stud. I'm not even going to draft him right here. I'm considering it, actually, when I look at the like he's actually like,
yeah,
he's my next favorite running back.
Yeah,
he is.
That's fair.
And there's some
the Green Screens Media said running back wearing number 1. It's anybody's game. True. And Bam in here. What up, Bam? Said, no offense, Simon, but I very much dislike your draft right now.
That's fine.
Coming at you, Simon.
0 RB makes you feel uncomfortable when you leave a draft. You know what I mean? Like if you successfully drafted a 0 RB team, you're probably going to feel a little gross about it when you leave, especially if you're not used to drafting that way. Because it's not comfortable, right? You have these guys at running back that you don't necessarily trust. And part of that strategy there is taking some of these like starters that are in questionable situations, taking high upside guys late that could boom or bust, and then playing that waiver wire hard the first couple weeks whenever stuff happens that we're not expecting. It happens every year. There's a guy. You just got to be ready to jump on it and take that risk that maybe you blow all your fab on a guy that's not going to pan out.
Yeah, and I think this the off season is the perfect time to play around with these types of strategies. Bam, if you feel like you don't like this roster, then you should try and pull insight from that, right? Like what that means. Maybe you're more comfortable taking running back, either in the first or second round, or going running back heavy. And the off season is time to play with those strategies. So
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking maybe if instead of taking
I was just
Kyle Pitts
for you. Like
Kyle Pitts, if I would have taken Leonard Fournette or an Aaron Jones right there, I think I would like this team a lot more.
We're so separated from redraft season, but I remember we talked about this a lot. It's like when we do these certain it's like can you actually make this work, like going tight end and quarterback in the first 5 picks? You can. Like I like your team, but it's tough. You make it tougher on yourself. You really got to hit on those running backs later, but you got pretty solid ones, honestly.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. Bam doesn't like it, but I'm actually fairly happy with how this turned out, going running back and tight end early. I'm not mad about the running backs that I've got, and I've still got 3 more rounds, right? Maybe
I like my hybrid, 0 running back. You get one good running back, and then build your team around that.
Hero. Yeah, I like the
hero.
I like the hero RB strategy this season. It seems to be my preferred method.
Alex, what's your take on 0 RB as a strategy?
I was so out on it last year, but I felt like it worked so well for people. And I feel like with guys constantly getting banged up, and now that we have a longer season, people are more incentivized. Okay, let's just sit out 1 or 2 games here. I think that it's going to be a little bit easier than it passed to kind of scoop up and put together some running backs like Simon did. So I've never actually done a 0 RB draft because I'm like Simon. I feel gross. But I feel like I should. I'm with Simon. I'm more of a fan of Simon's draft than other people are here. I wish I had the guts to do it. So Simon, mad respect.
Last year was my first year kind of toying around with the 0 RB strategy. I'd always been no, I'm not doing that. But what happened was just the way the draft boards were falling last year, there was so much value at wide receiver in those early rounds. You could load up Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill with those first 2 picks if you were at the end of the first round, and then still get solid running backs. And it just tended, last season, just the way the boards were falling made me kind of explore what 0 RB could do. And I enjoy it. I'm not a only 0 RB guy. Know what I mean? There's the guys that we have to draft 0 RB, but if a board's falling that way, I like to play around with it. I'm not scared of doing it if I see a board falling that way.
Yeah, ultimately, I feel like it's kind of silly that people get into these ideological arguments about strategies, because they're just different strategies you can employ and should employ at different times, right? So it's all about the game. We're playing the game.
Definitely.
If I was drafting first overall here, there's not a chance in the world I wouldn't have taken Jonathan Taylor. Know what I mean? I'm not married to 0 RB. I'll take the value. I'll take the player that I want there. But that's part of why I took this slot, is I wanted to experiment with this today.
Yeah. Zach said, I usually never take QB or tight end early in non-super flex, but I couldn't pass up on the Mahomes-Kelsey stack.
That's how your team's panning out, honestly. You didn't take a wide receiver till the 5th round, but your group of wide receivers is solid.
Yeah,
probably another wide receiver here. If that's just me.
You know what draft I'm really liking so far? Now that I'm looking at this, I like Dame's draft a lot with Adams and Diggs. I know there's some uncertainty with Adams right there. Kittle in the 3rd, and then in the 4th and 5th round, Montgomery and Mitchell, I feel like is great value at the running back position right there.
Dame's draft. Dame's. I'm with you. It's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I haven't looked at all the teams, but I love it.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would change is the Kyler Murray pick, but that's just how I play personally. I think so. It's totally fine taking him.
James Cook right there.
Man, I just hate streaming tight ends. I know we're talking about I was thinking that Kyle Pitts pick, maybe I should have taken a running back there, but God, I hate streaming tight ends. I hate looking at that glob of tight ends on the waiver wire every week and going okay, do I play Jared Cook or CJ Uzama? Know what I mean? I don't want to play that game. It hurts every week to spend $1 a fab on those guys to get them on your roster.
Is that a shot at me as I'm about to go up to pick and I don't have a tight end?
No, because it's a perfectly it works. You can win championships that way. I just hate the stress of doing it.
You know what? I don't know where you're thinking with your next pick, but I think because of that, I'm going to have to try to spite you here as we have some running backs going off the board.
No, just don't take the guy. Oh, you son of a gun! You did it. That is who I was targeting this round. That is the high upside pick in late draft.
Be careful when you speak bad about my team.
That is the zero RB sweetheart right there, because there's what Rex Burkhead and Marlon Mack are in front of him. Like, that's what. Oh, well, there goes my whole draft.
We got to figure it out.
Now I hate my team. Now I hate everything about
fill
my
his
team.
bucket hat with tears.
Who would have guessed?
Alex,
Damian
I like
Pierce
that you're
did,
like, I'm going to
determine.
try to snipe you, and you immediately like
He just nails it. Yeah.
Yeah, nailed it. Nailed who I was going for.
It's like full court shot.
God, what do I even do here? This is the worst day of my life.
Josh with a triple rookie wide receiver, the Treylon Burks, Christian Watson, Sky Moore. I like this. I feel like I do this so much in redraft, Josh, and I don't always know if it's like the best idea, like if I should be doing it, but I just can't help myself, like going rookie heavy in redraft. How do you feel about that strategy in general? How do you generally approach redraft teams and rookies?
To be completely honest, I typically I like doing it with rookie running backs a lot more than rookie wide receivers when it comes down to it. Rookie wide receivers, they just have a smaller hit rate their rookie season compared to rookie running backs. If rookie running backs are going to hit, they're typically coming into the NFL and doing pretty well. I know there's some outliers both ways, but so if I had to recommend a strategy, it would be shoring up your wide receivers early, then taking all the shots you possibly can take at the running back position later. Because you're going to hit. I mean, there's injuries that happen throughout the year as well. It's kind of easier to catch lightning in a bottle at the running back position compared to the wide receiver position. But I'm kind of doing the opposite here. I feel pretty comfortable with my starting running backs and my starting 2 wide receivers. We do start 3 wide receivers, so I am taking shots on incredibly high upside wide receivers late here. They're all rookies, Treylon Burks, Christian Watson, Sky Moore. But if things go right for just one of these guys, I have a weekly starter that I can plug into my lineup as my 3rd wide receiver every single week. Feel very good about it. They all have that upside.
Absolutely. Alex, I want to ask you the same question. Like, how do you think about rookies and your redraft strategy?
I think it all depends. Like, I think there's certain rookies I like going for. There's certain ones I don't. I think it all just kind of depends where they fall on me. I know it's not the greatest answer, but I'm not against taking rookies like I used to. I think the last 2 years more than ever in my lifetime, like rookies have really come in, they're NFL ready and they produce. And maybe that Josh is doing a really good thing by still being ahead of the curve on that. And that might be a really great thing for taking rookies. But I get a little scared that I'm someone that's a waiver wire trigger happy. So when rookies aren't producing for the first 3 weeks, I'm ready to get rid of you, which I probably shouldn't. But for my play style, I avoid rookies more because I'm not as patient as I probably should be with my young Padawans or whatever the clever
young Padawans. I love that. I love like in your mind, you're like, I am your mentor.
You've been watching a lot. You've been watching a lot of Star Wars too lately, Alex.
A little bit. With Obi-Wan's coming out. I'm
I'm so excited.
I'm excited for it too.
I've watched the trailer every time I open Disney Plus. Before I watch whatever I'm watching, I watch the trailer for Obi-Wan. It looks so good.
No wonder I took Damian Pierce. I do the same thing.
He's making a really good point, though. Like, when you're drafting people later in redraft leagues, like a lot of those guys, you just want to make sure they're high upside. And if they hit, you know it right away and you keep them. And if they're not hitting, you drop them and you don't feel bad about it. With rookies, sometimes it does take a little bit, a few weeks to develop.
5 weeks, yeah. Like Alvin Kamara was one of those, right?
A lot of
like
times you have to sit on them.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's risky what I'm doing here. It is.
Yeah,
it is. Like I said, I'd rather do it with the running backs because I feel like when they hit faster.
Yeah. So being intentional about it, I think, is the key. Like, no, like I love how you brought up the fact that like your play style in the beginning of the season, Alex, because I think that's huge. It's super important to utilize the waiver wire in those first few weeks, because that's when you're gonna have the most like change, the most delta between what expectations are versus reality. Yep. And so I like that you're just like, I'm just gonna cut bait. And that affects how you might that affects how you're drafting rookies when you make those decisions. And also maybe that opens up the door for picking up rookies off the waiver wire, right? Maybe that's a strategy as opposed to drafting them.
Yep.
For me, rookies in redraft, like in Dynasty, I'm more looking at talent than situation, right? Like, which of these players am I most excited about their talent, and it'll work itself out. The most talented players will rise to the top. In redraft, it's pretty much it's situation. Do I like this player's situation? Are they put in a spot where they can contribute early? And that's all I'm really looking at. Whether I love them or not. Like, I don't love Algier, like his talent. He wasn't someone I was high on, but out of all the rookie running backs, he's one of the ones with the best shot to land a week 1 starting job as a rookie running back, even though he was a 5th round pick. So I'll take that shot late.
To that point, Simon, all the wide receivers I drafted, their situations really couldn't get any better.
100%.
Yeah. Like, the Sky Moore, the Chiefs, they need wide receivers. He could come in and be the number one wide receiver right away, possibly. Christian Watson, it's an even easier case to make for him, right?
And then Treylon Burks, even easier.
They literally traded AJ Brown to get this guy. If he doesn't have a role, the Titans screwed up.
Yeah.
Alex, I do like your late round tight end.
Or
yeah.
I have 3 Cardinals players though, but it was like he's gone so too far, and I've been holding off on him for like 3 rounds, and I think that was fine to get a good value, even from taking a third Cardinals guy.
It's fine, yeah.
No, I like that pick a lot, and I think that he will be a beneficiary of this DeAndre Hopkins suspension.
Yeah, he's been a top 5 tight end 5 out of the last 6 years.
It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah,
people think he's washed. Like I feel like that's the narrative. Zach Ertz is washed, but if he can do this while washed, that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Josh, also
White.
And Jay said, if you're upset that you didn't get Pierce, you may need to redo your draft. It's the principle of it, Jay. It was who I wanted, and they were taken. It's not necessarily that it was Pierce in particular. It was just the player I wanted. Alex said, I'm going to steal your player, and then he did.
And then he did it. And Swamp said, also, y'all sleeping on Taysom on tight end. I don't think he is tight end eligible on Sleeper. I don't think he is.
Should be, right?
I don't know.
He is. He is tight end eligible. Yep.
He is.
Yeah, he's right.
I will continue to sleep on him.
Yeah, me too.
I have no idea how they're going to use him.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Going to bed early, and I'm sleeping in 12 hours.
We have a comment in the chat here. It says Cousins over Stafford. Comment, please. And it's going to be a no for me, dog.
Nope for me too, dog.
No sir. For me as well.
Yeah. I mean, just look at last season. Stafford was a better fantasy quarterback. And
I feel like
more or less like it's going to be the same this year.
That was as good of a season as we've seen from Kirk Cousins last. Like he had a great fantasy season last year.
Oh yeah,
that's
like
fantasy.
That's peak.
You know what I mean? Like he was a great fantasy quarterback. I'm not expecting him to take a step forward or that offense to take a massive step forward for him this coming year.
I'll make the argument real fast. The Vikings, they get Adam Thielen back, and Kirk Cousins is just throwing touchdowns left and right. Justin Jefferson gets wide open because they have both those guys on the field. Irv Smith grows into his own. He becomes a fantastic tight end. And Matthew Stafford, the Rams, Cam Akers, he gets back. They want to run the ball more, and he just has less passing attempts. I just made an argument for it, but I do not believe in that argument.
I do not believe in that argument. Love how you lay that out. Boom, we'll just lay out an argument. I don't believe it, but there you go.
I don't think that's true. But if all those things happen, Kirk Cousins could finish above Matthew Stafford.
He could. And so I said, got to say, not my favorite draft, but definitely had fun with this one. That's what mocks are all about.
Yeah, that is absolutely what it's about.
And then he also said Stranger Things season 4 is going to be out. Obi-Wan is going to be out. Top Gun Maverick is going to come out May 27th.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, a bunch of hitters are about to get.
Josh, I know you want to take your like 4th wide receiver in a row in a great situation, and I don't know if that's who you're looking at right now, but
don't worry about it.
You know, somebody on that team has never had higher than a 22% target share, and I don't think it's going to start now. So I have to take a chance on a guy that I was not loving for the draft, but
don't worry about it.
David Bell.
Yeah, I love David Bell. Yeah, he's going to get a lot of targets this season. New Jarvis Landry, maybe, huh?
Yeah,
maybe. Would love
definitely. Obviously, like I'm high on him in Dynasty, but I like the upside of David Bell in redraft. Right? If I'm drafting rookies in a redraft format, I'm looking at upside if they don't have a floor.
Yep.
I guess any player though.
You should get a floor.
I should get a floor. That's probably pretty important.
Floor. Someone's got to catch the ball in Cleveland, right? Cooper or Bell. Someone's got to catch it. Alex, Peoples-Jones will be good for a couple exciting plays during the season, but I don't think he'll be consistently fantasy relevant.
Bunch of waiver wire fab that people will waste.
It'll be like me blowing 50% of my budget and half my leagues on Marquez Callaway last year.
Callaway, that was it, yeah. Alex, if you were to make one different decision in this draft for your team, what would it be? Like if you make one of these picks differently.
As I see Simon like angrily looking up as he asks about the one pick that I would change. I'm just kidding. I think the one pick that I would probably change, honestly, and I don't know who I would pick, but it might be DeAndre Hopkins for me. I mean, only because like I did swing for the fences, but my wide receiving core right now is looking pretty weak, where like David Bell, Gage, or Tony might all be my wide receiver 3 for the first 6 weeks. And that to me is just a little scary, a little unnerving. Maybe I would have waited on quarterback and drafted, another Mooney or something like that earlier.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you didn't take Mooney there, Alex, or we really wouldn't.
Simon, I'll ask you the same question. If you were to make one change, what would it be?
Man, that is tough. Looking at this, honestly, I said Pitts earlier, but now that I'm looking at it, I like the Pitts pick, and I think that's good value for him, and I like having that top tier tight end. I think maybe it would be Cooper, and instead of Cooper, take the shot on the rookie running back Breece Hall, stepping into that Jets offense. I expect him to be the number one running back in that offense. He's a better runner and a better pass catcher than Michael Carter is. So I think that's the different move I would have made. Instead of taking Cooper, I would have taken Breece Hall, and I would have been fine with Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Darnell Mooney, Elijah Moore, and Jamison Crowder as my receivers. Like, I don't need Cooper on this team. And that
realistically, I think Mooney and Moore could finish higher than Cooper.
Yeah, 100%. They've got some upside that could push them higher than Cooper. So
especially if Watson doesn't play,
Yeah,
I think that's the move I would have changed. I think I would have taken Breece Hall instead of Amari Cooper.
What about you, Josh, real quickly? I know we just wrapped up the draft.
I'm looking through this. I'm trying to find something.
My draft is perfect.
I'm a Darnell Mooney fan. I'm not 100% bought in that Ken Walker will be the starter right out of the gate. I think there's a good chance that Rashad Penny's that guy. He's the starter. Or at least it's like a split backfield. So if that's the case, I maybe drafted Ken Walker a little bit early. I think he'll take the starting running back, but I would like, just like Alex said, I would like to have a stronger wide receiver 3. Right now, it's all rookies that I'm hoping and praying. I do think they're going to have pretty big roles right away in the NFL. So I guess maybe Ken Walker for Mooney. So I guess Mooney might have been a good pick, Simon. He's going to get
everybody wanted Mooney.
Man, guys, what's it like to be worried about your wide receiver position? I just can't even imagine.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting over here with Ramondre Stevenson and Tyler Algier competing for my RB2 spot.
And Devin Singletary in your locked in
no
RB1
questions
spot.
there. That is solid, ready to go. No, 100%. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and draft with us today. It was an absolute pleasure, and now I'm even more sad that I missed last time you were on here. Now that I know you don't suck, you're pretty cool.
You're not bad at all. That's for sure.
I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to be here. Always great talking with you guys. It's been a blast, and I cannot wait to join you to draft Dameon Pierce. Hopefully, sometime in the future.
Yes,
let's do it, guys. If you do not already follow Alex on Twitter, go and follow him right now at Alex Caruso. I don't know what else he could have done during this time period to convince you, but an excellent follow. And then make sure you're following him on TikTok as well at Alex Caruso NFL and Football Guys Official. He has been killing it on the TikTok game, so make sure you guys go check him out over there. And everybody who watched and drafted along with us, thank you so much for tuning in today. We will be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time for some more fantasy football game show fun. I believe it's Jeopardy tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure you tune in and come play some fantasy football Jeopardy with us. Until then, though, we are out of here. Adios, everybody, and thank you again.
Trading makes fantasy fun. Love you guys.